Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm working on a layout that was actually part of a class with Christina Sorge over at Redefined Creative, and we are doing some mixed media, and I decided to create my own cut file for this particular layout. So what I wanted to create was a big gear, and the reason I created that is because the story that I want to tell on this layout is about my grandson and how the gears in his head are always going. And for being 2, he's a pretty smart little guy. And I know that's I'm probably biased on that, but um, once you hear the story, you might agree with me. So anyway, I'm taking some of this Catherine Pooler ink and I am layering it up. So I obviously went with a rainbow type order here, counterclockwise, starting with the red, and then I went over each color with another color in the same family. So I had that lime green, and then I went with a darker green over it. Same with the blue, and then with the purple, I had the dark purple and I went over it with fuchsia, and so it's just building different layers, and I really like how that looks. And then I'm using this stamp. It is from goodness, I can't even remember the name of it. I'll try to remember to put that in the comments down below. I know it's Art by Marlene, but I can't remember what the actual brand is called. So, but it is a lot of little polka dots. They're kind of all random. And so I'm just going over each area and I'm stamping it twice. So I'm stamping the original ink and then I'm stamping a second generation stamp of it. And it's just giving more texture. It's not anything really, like it's not giving super detailed information or anything like that, but I like the way that it looks. And then I started to glue that down, and as I was gluing it down, Christina said in the class to pop your cut file up onto some foam tape, so that's what I did. And I had this foam tape that I got from a friend of mine, and it's like the perfect width. It's like 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's on a big roll, so it works really well. And so that's what I'm using, because normally I use fun foam, but to cut it that narrow, it's a kind of a pain. So I decided to go ahead and use this foam that I had from my friend. And shout out to Janie, thank you for giving me that foam. So that is my grandson, and you can't really tell in the picture, but he had made cookies with his mom earlier in the day, and she had put the cookie dough in a container in the refrigerator, the leftover cookie dough that they weren't cooking at the time. And then she left the room to put some things away, and when she came back, he had the refrigerator door open, and he had one of those long grabber things that you like squeeze and it grabs, and he's trying to get the cookie dough out of the refrigerator, and he's all by himself doing it. Nobody's helping him. Nobody told him to do it. He just went and found the grabber, opened the refrigerator, and she wasn't out of the room very long. Actually, I think she was just like on the other side. They have an island, and she was on the other side of the island, putting some stuff away in the pantry down at the bottom, so she couldn't see what he was doing. And he literally is grabbing the cookie dough with that grabber. So I thought it was really funny. She sent me the picture, and she told me that because of his ingenuity, she actually gave him another cookie rather than getting mad at him. She was like, "Okay, that was smart," you know. So she gave him a cookie for it. So I looked up some quotes that had ingenuity in them, and I found one that said "Ingenuity plus courage plus work equals miracles," and I thought that was the perfect title. Only instead of equals miracles, I put equals cookie dough. And so that is what my title is going to be. So I'm just trying to figure out how to fit all of that in here, because the font that I had that had enough letters in it that would work, because I needed, a couple of different O's, I needed extra E's, and it's a kind of a long title. And I thought I was going to actually spell out all of it, but I end up using plus signs for the plus because it doesn't fit otherwise, and I use an equal sign for the equals. Otherwise, there was no way it could fit. I actually even tried pulling the thickers out toward the edge of the cut file, where the outer edge of the, or spokes of the gears are, or teeth of the gears are. And but then I had like trapped space in between, and I didn't like how it looked, so I brought them in, and you can see there I found these plus signs in some Rosie Studio puffy stickers, and they are like white puffy stickers with silvery glitter, and I just went over them with a Sharpie to make them black because I wanted them to stand out more than the white would make them stand out. And so I'm using those. And then this other, I did 3 of them, but I really only needed 2. So the third one, I butchered it and put it back together, did a little surgery there, and I made an equal sign out of it. So my title there is Ingenuity plus Courage plus Work equals, and then down below the pictures I'm going to put the words cookie dough. And I am popping all of those pictures up onto foam because the cut file is up on foam. I need something to support the photos. And I'm also going to need something to support all of those letters that are, they're on the cut file, but they are hanging off over the edge in midair. They're just like suspended there. So I need something to fix those, and I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that at this point in time. So I'm just working on getting my photos down, getting a little journaling spot. The 2 photos, the one of them is obviously taken from further away, and then the other one is zoomed in so you can kind of see. And they're a little bit dark, but you can still see what he's doing. He's clearly going for the cookie dough. He actually found the right container in there and everything. It's just really funny. And so then I found this 3x4 card that said the details, and it had a turquoise typewriter on it, and I cut the typewriter off because the card was a little bit too big, but I wanted the lines and I wanted the details on there, so I went ahead and just cut it apart and put it back together in a way that worked for my particular layout. And I think that's a good way to use like your 3x4 cards or your 4x6 cards, is cut them apart and make them work for you. So I know, well, I have a lot in my stash, and I know there's a lot of people with them in their stash. And if you're not somebody who does Project Life or Pocket Pages frequently, that's one good way to use them. And then, so I'm trying to balance the words cookie dough, and I decided to put some exclamation points after it just because the D is hanging out a little bit in front of the C of cookie, and so I wanted it to be like evenly spaced. I could have moved things over, but I really just liked the way it looked with the exclamation points because, I don't know, it was funny, and it was really, he really was using his little mind. Okay, so I pulled out some label stickers from Pink Fresh Studio, and I am going to layer those up in this area right above the photos so I can have a little bit more room to write. I want to write a little bit the date, and I want to write that you can see the gears in his mind working. And then I thought I'd put this sticker down below, and that sticker doesn't stay. I did stick it down there for a little bit, but then I decided not to. I didn't want it on there. And then I found this other sticker that says something like either it's a good idea or it's a really good story. So I thought I would put that on there, and I thought it was fitting for the situation. And so I'm moving these around so that that square or rectangle sticker with the saying on it can nestle in with them, and they can be layered up, and it doesn't look like it's just hanging out on that right hand photo by itself. And then I'm going to put some gold color shine, and as I'm doing this I'm still trying to figure out what am I going to do about those chipboard letters that are just hanging out there. Oh, I also used some color shine in tinsel, which is kind of like a steel silver kind of color. It's silver, but it's not bright silver. It's kind of like a dark silver. So I used a little bit of both of those, and then I am using a black, a silver, and a gold enamel dot above the photo and below the photo. So I like how that looks. And I am putting some foam behind my labels there because they kind of kept sticking to the paper and getting kind of sunken in because everything else is lifted up. Then because I had that big gear on there, I thought I'm going to bring in another gear, and I think I'm going to put it in the center of that O in the middle of Cookie, because I didn't like how the photograph corners and the joining of the two photographs was visible between or in the center of that O. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and bring in that little gear. It fits perfectly in there. And what I decided to do is I am going to heat emboss it with gold embossing powder. And you don't see that on the screen. You can see me dip it there. And then I just do it over my trash can, because then if any extra dust of the embossing powder blows off, it blows off to my trash can, not all over my works area, which has so much stuff on it at the moment. So then I was like, let me bring another gear up into this area above the photos, but I couldn't figure out where I wanted it. And then when I stuck it behind the K in work, I was like, oh my goodness, why don't I put these behind all of the letters to provide a little bit of support for those letters that are hanging off? So that's what I did. I am just tucking them in there, and I'm going to pull them all out, and I'm going to heat emboss all of them in gold as well. And then I'm going to tuck them back in there, and then they will support the letters that are those chipboard letters, so that when they go in the album and other pages push against them, they're not going to pop off of that cut file where they're just attached by the very, the littlest bit. So I'm just going to show you really quickly how I do this. I don't actually show you the heat part of it because of, like I said, I don't want dust all over my table at the moment, and I didn't show you all of them. I just showed you one. I just press it into the Versamark pad and then dip it into the embossing powder. And then I'm going to go ahead and put them on, and that is pretty much going to do it. So if you have any questions or comments about this layout, you can leave those down below. If you don't mind hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. And if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. I would appreciate that as well. If you are a subscriber, thanks for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.